Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Marta. I come from Norway and I love makeup, and today I'm going to do something I've been very excited to do for a long time, and that is to make a custom palette based on the shadows from Glaminatrix eyeshadow palettes that have the small sized pans. So the palettes that I have are Rich Romantic, then I do have the Sugar and Spice. All of these, by the way, were sent to me in PR, just so you know that. This has so many beautiful shimmers in it. And then I have the newest one here, Barely Basic, which is just the most beautiful fall palette, which I do have a video on. I'm not sure if I have a video on, I think I have one on the Sugar and Spice one, but I'm not sure. So it's about time that I film with these. And the last one that I have from the small ones is this one, and I think those are all of the ones with the smaller pans. And just look at how rich and beautiful these colors are in this pastel palette. It's just perfect to build color stories with. So if you're interested in seeing me putting something together with shadows from all of these palettes, keep watching. Okay, so I'm barely able to show you all of them, but basically these are the shadows I'm going to pick from. I think I'll just take out all the ones I feel like I want in a fall palette. Or not all of them, but if I were to curate a palette for myself from these. I have not yet decided if I should do one of the small ones or if I should do one of the big ones. But I will just see how many shadows I pick, and then I'll decide which one I will use to house them. So I guess I'll just put them away and then start with maybe the Rich Romantic one here. So to take them out from the palettes, I think all of these should be magnetic. I'm not sure if all of them have the names underneath. I will just use the magnet to take it out. For some reason this one doesn't want to come out, but you can see that this one, for example, it comes out super easily. So I'll just see why isn't that working? Okay, so I did manage to get it now, but I don't really know why it wouldn't come out from one of the edges, but I think this is just so perfect for fall. So I'll just put that to the side here. And do I want something else from this palette? I might want some of these shimmers. I'm not sure if I should go for the purple one here with the green shift, but I could have had like all of these three shimmers right here. I think they're all so stunning. So, I don't know. I feel like the shimmers is going to be my biggest problem because I'll want all of them. So I think I'll just put it to the side first, and then I'll see which mattes I end up with before I decide for the shimmers maybe. I think that's gonna be the best idea for me. So here is the Barely Basic palette. Which ones do I want from here? I'm kind of feeling this one, but how close is that to this shade? They're quite different. I feel like I'm gonna end up making my Serpent palette just with Glaminatrix shadows, because I somehow tend to go for all the same shadows or colors, but I think I'll just do this one because I love that shade. It's so nice. And I kind of want, now I'm just going back and forth through the palettes, but I think I want the deepest green here because I feel like with this one you could go either cooler if you use a more cool toned matte, but you can go also quite warm. So I feel like I want this one instead of the deepest one in the Barely Basic palette. And just to compare the one here, you can see this one is a lot cooler and this one is just super warm. But I feel like using this one with this one, it's gonna be quite warm. So I really like these three colors together. And out of the purples, I do think I want this one, because this one in the Rich Romantic one is very bright. And this one I just wore today for my makeup, and it's just such a beautiful saturated, or it's not super saturated. It looks a bit more muted in the pan, but once you get it on the eye, it's just the most beautiful purple shade. It's like a berry purple, and it reminds me a little bit of Love Letter from Anastasia Beverly Hills, but I think this one might be a little bit deeper. And then I'll want to have a look in Sugar and Spice here. I don't really think I want any of the mattes in this one. maybe I'll actually do this deepest brown. But out of the other ones, I mean, this one would look really pretty, the shimmer. But I mean, there's a lot of shimmers in here that I would want. But from the mattes, maybe I'll do the deepest brown. Do I want that with my color story though? I think I'll definitely do this deepest purple and maybe even the deepest red here. And then I'm already at 6 mattes. And I'm not sure if, like, I might want some other mattes too. How is this gonna look? It's quite dark. And I don't know if you can even see that well. Is this too bright for you? We'll try. Okay, so we're just turned off the ISO, so maybe you can see a bit more. So now I think I have to start with the shimmers because I do have a lot of mattes now. And if I'm gonna do this one, I'll have 15 shades. I can do a few more mattes though. But I think, I mean, this one would look just so beautiful. The shade Rich, if you can see right here, it's just that most beautiful green shift. And that together with the purples, that would look so nice. And I think also for that deepest purple, I think it would be really nice to have this pretty in pastel. Now it's going to be way too bright for you. I'm just going to turn this down a little bit and maybe it will be a little bit too dark, but I think it's gonna be fine. Now I have the first shimmer, which is nice. What else do I want? I mean, I definitely want this one, the shade Mustard. I just think it's like the perfect green shimmer. And maybe I'll add Basil. It's just such a classic, beautiful shade with like a slightly brown base, but this one is very light. But that blue shimmer is so stunning. And look, that will be so pretty together with those purples. I feel like I'm struggling so much to decide for the shimmers. Maybe I should just go with this shade right here, FYP, for you page, I think that stands for. This is one of my favorite iridescents from Glaminatrix because it's just got this warm, fiery orange shift. And that's just gonna look amazing with nearly any of these mattes. I think I want either Hashtag from the Barely Basics, but that's gonna make it very like purple pink leaning because I already have, well, I just have 3 or 4 shades that look a little bit more on the purple side. But I think Nutmeg or Hashtag. You can see them here. Maybe I'll take Nutmeg because it looks a little bit warmer than Hashtag, just so that it will go better with like the red if I want to go for a red. Something like this. I mean, this is looking really cute already. So this means I only have 3 spots left if I'm going for one of the smaller sized palettes for keeping it. Wow, it's so difficult. I definitely want some of the green multichromes or the orange multichromes. Maybe I should add this one. I love this one. It's called Seductive. You can see that warm shift. I used this one for my look yesterday, which I uploaded to Instagram. So I do have a look there, and I actually have to post my look from today as well, where I used, for today I used this one, the mint shade, and I also used some of the purples. I actually used this purple from the Barely Basic palettes. But what else do I want now? I mean, I think I can narrow it down to just be 15 shades because I'm already doing quite well, I feel like. But it's not necessarily looking super fall-like. I definitely need a more orange shimmer. So the question is, do I add this shimmer from the Barely Basic palette, or do I add the shade that is called Charming here? I mean, that is so pretty. They both are so stunning. Maybe I'll just have to take them both out and see. And if I only have one more shade, I feel like I should have something to blend all of these out with, so it would kind of make sense to maybe, I could pretty much use any of these, because you have, this one is a bit more yellowy green, this one is a bit more peachy, intoxicating here is a bit more pink, and then you have one that is more neutral in the Barely Basic palette right here. And all of those would do really nice. But I would really actually like to have some blue in this color story too. You know what? I think I'm actually going to remove this one, because if I blend the deep blue with this purple shade, I think it's gonna look quite similar. But with this deep blue right here, I feel like it might be a bit more versatile. So I think I'll actually switch those out, because I also just love blue together with mustard. Like if you look at, I mean, this isn't necessarily mustard though, but like a warm orangey yellow. I think those two will look beautiful together. And if I'm gonna be so boring that I'm adding a skin colored shade, I guess I should go for this one from the Barely Basic palette. I'm just gonna have to place these in a more meaningful order, so I'll just do that and probably speed through it a little bit. I just like to have some sort of system or pattern, so to speak, when I do the shadow placement, just because, I don't know, I just like it. So often I go for like the deeper shades in the corner. I'll do the warmer tones together and like move towards the edge right here, and I'll often do every other shade of shimmer and matte shade, because I really just like that for some reason. So I could do something like this, and I think I'm gonna end up with too many mattes if I'm gonna do this pattern, but these ones look so similar, but I swear they look so different when you put them on. And something about this is just not right, so I'll just try to see if I can move them so that they make more sense to me. It's just something about this color story that I don't love. I think it's the fact that I have so many purples. Maybe I shouldn't do this one because it's a little bit too pink leaning, but it's so stunning on the lid though. I'll just put it back, at least temporarily, just because I feel like something is not right with it there. I'll just see how this one will look together with the color story instead of that more berry tone, because I think it's just a little bit, I don't know, I just don't love the color story I'm creating right now, but I don't really know what it is. Maybe it's the green. I'm gonna see how it looks if I add this deepest brown matte from the Barely Basic palette, because you could get a quite green look if you blend this one together with the more acid green over here. But I do love this green though. That was one I was really sure I would use. I mean, now I'm looking at this and I feel like it looks a lot better, although I didn't really do much different. I feel like I'm kind of in between doing the color Rich for the last shimmer, or I would do the shade Fennel from the Sugar and Spice palette, because that is a bit more cool toned, but it's just shifting a lot, so I think it's really beautiful. And I think that would like fit so well with this palette. But I feel like Rich would just offer something completely different from the other shades. But this is gonna offer something a bit more cool toned, which is also very interesting. What would you prefer? I'm gonna try to show you with a little bit better lighting. So I have my phone here with the flashlight so you can hopefully see the colors a little bit better. But this is how it's looking with Fennel. And then with Rich, it's gonna look like this. I just feel like Fennel fits the theme a little bit better with the green and, well, the warmer tones. Although this is slightly cooler. This in the base though, it has some more green gold shimmer to it, but I think that actually looks really nice. I'm gonna see if I'll change up the order a bit, and then I'll probably just think a bit extra on whether or not I want to change out some of the colors. I don't like when it's asymmetric here. I have to have a system on my shadows. I did just change out the brown with this one from the Barely Basic palette. How do we feel about this? I feel like it's leaning a bit warmer, but you still have the cooler toned brown right here. No, the green right here. That goes just so well with all of the green shades. You can also just blend it out with this one if you want to make it warmer, or this one if you want to keep the cool tone. And for the blue, you can either blend it by itself or together with this one again to keep the tone of this one, because that more skin toned color is very neutral. Or you can blend it with this lighter purple to make it more purple leaning, which I kind of love. And I do like the shimmers that I have. I went for a lot of the ones that aren't as deep. And I'm kind of like green heavy, but you know I love green, so I'm actually really liking this, and I think I could have made a lot of interesting looks with this palette and this color story. I think I would have enjoyed to have the blue here closer to this one just because I love that color combination, but at the same time I feel like the cooler tones are just more fit to be here at the edge. And I could have changed these two as well to make this one, which is a little bit warmer, closer here, and this one, which is a slightly more cooler tone shimmer here, but I think that the depth fits better at this corner right here. And you can see that I have shimmer, 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 and then shimmer, shimmer. So it's a little bit more symmetric to me, because I mean this is symmetric, this part here, and then we have a nice pattern here, which I really like. So I think I'll have to, I mean, I should label all of these shadows somehow, because if I'm going to take out all of the other shadows, I'm gonna mess it all up. So I think I'll have to just use a Sharpie and write it on the back of the pants. And I think I'll use the Sugar and Spice palette to house this little color story right here. Okay, so I just removed all of the shadows from the Sugar and Spice, and that is the only palette, it seems, that has the names on the back, but I'm not sure if it's something new that they are going to put the names on all of the pans. But now I'm going to put all the colors that I chose in this palette and see how I like it once it's in there. Typically it actually looks a bit better once I get them in the palette, so we'll just see. And just like for your information, when you remove black shadows or super deep shadows, sometimes the magnet will take away some of the product. I'm not sure if you can see that in the middle on the side there, but I think it's one of the ingredients that are in the shadow, black shadow, that is just magnetic somehow. I don't remember which one, but I think I looked it up before because my Kaleidos makeup one ended up doing that, which was very sad, but yeah, that's why I looked it up. I mean, I think it's looking very interesting. If you look at all of these, I love the combination of acid green, and this one is relatively light and warm together with the purple. I think that's just really cool. And now we're gonna put in the oranges, which are obviously gonna look really beautiful. I mean, that's a nice palette. I think I really like it. I think there was something just a little bit off with the red one that I had, so I like that I switched it up with this green. I suppose I could have put this blue down here. I kind of like having the green down here. Maybe I'll just see how it looks if I change them, because I kind of have a nice green row going on there. So I suppose it would make sense. What do you like the most? I think maybe this makes a little bit more sense, but I did like having the blue there. But this way I actually get it a little bit closer to that more mustardy brown shade. Wow, I really like this actually. I think this is a really cool palette, and I'll have to think it over a bit before I swatch it, just in case I want to change anything, but I think this is looking really cool. Obviously you could change the more skin toned color to something more exciting. I could have used another one of the oranges from the Pretty Pastel palette because I think that one looks so pretty, but for my palette I think it's a bit too similar to this one. This is just a little bit brighter and more yellow, I think. I think that's basically it. I think it would look really cool also with one of these oranges, but again, it's a little bit close to the one I have. And I think this is just really, really nice. I was just putting the other palettes away and I just figured maybe I'll try to switch these two cooler tones with these warmer tones, because then I'll have all the cooler tones here. I mean, apart from the green, but the green is a green, so I'll just try it. So I'll just try that and see how it looks. How do we feel about this placement? I'm not sure which one I prefer. I think maybe I actually prefer the previous one, but I think it's pretty much the same whether I have these ones here or not. Either way, I will swatch all the mattes 2 and 2. And do we have... yeah, I do have, so that I can swatch these together, these together, these together, and these together. I think that would look quite nice. And then I'll swatch all of the shimmers by themselves just to make sure that those are allowed to shine. So I'll do that off camera and show you the swatches. Now here is the whole color story swatched out, and this is a very odd color story I think, but I still think it works really well because there's so many colors you can play off of. Like for example, you have with this shade Basil, you could use the purple, the blue. You could even use like the purple and the green. It basically goes with almost anything. It would also be really cool on top of this more berry tone. And then you have this shade, it's Nutmeg from the Sugar and Spice. That would go perfectly with warmer tones. But you could also use it together with the greens for a little bit more of a natural kind of look with the greens. Or you could use it with the blue to tone that one down a bit. Clearly all of the greens are very good together. You could use it with the more mustardy brown. Greens are also amazing with either, well, the berry purple or even together with this blue. And again, the blue together with the mustard is just giving me Natasha Denona Gold palette, which I love. And this shade is just so intense and so beautiful. I think that would look really cool together with those two, for example, or just something lighter on the lid. I don't know, there's just a lot of different things you can do. It is a little bit, I feel like it's shimmer heavy, but it's actually a little bit more mattes than shimmers. And I think I just feel like it's shimmer heavy because they look a little bit similar swatched out, but I think the shifts are different. So I will just show you with different lighting. So here you can see those shimmers with lighting coming in from the side from my phone here. You can really see that hot fiery orange to green shift on that first shade. It's so pretty. I think that this shade, that is called Fennel from Sugar and Spice, it has a nearly purple base, which really surprised me because I thought it was going to be more teal. But you do see that it shifts from a very cool to a very warm green. I mean, it shifts also blue and nearly purple, so that's a very interesting shade. And I think that shade together with the blue would look so cool. And then we have this one right here. It's a very light green with a warm, I would say, orange shift to a green shift. It's so pretty. I love those kind of shades. We do have these mattes are just really beautiful, I think. Obviously you do have that skin toned one which doesn't look like anything, but I think it's really nice to have in a palette. And then we have kind of like the warmer or opposite of this one, because this one has a warm to green shift, whereas this one, I mean, it's warm to green too, but I feel like this one is a little bit more green. This is a bit more orange. So yeah, I guess I'm not good at explaining right now, but I think you can see it here, that they are not the same, but they are a little bit similar, but I guess different enough if you like those shapes. And yeah, I think I did mention all of the shimmers then. Just look at how special they are. They're all so sparkly, so shifty and beautiful. And I just love the Glaminatrix formulas, and I like this palette that I created. I think it's really cool. and I will probably do a look with it tomorrow morning, so I guess that's gonna be what you'll see right now. I just have to show you because I got these really cute jars from the Nightmare Before Christmas merch, and I am using it to store my brushes, and I think it's so cute. Anyway, for this look, I think I'll actually go into the purples here. Probably these four, just because I always go for these murky greens because I love them, but I really want to use these ones. And I'm not sure if I'll use this to make it cooler or just this one to kind of blend this, but I used this one yesterday and it was no problem blending by itself and it looked really beautiful. So I think I'll just start off with this shade. And I still have some sparkles on my face, I think, since yesterday, but that's fine. So I'm just gonna use my What's Up Beauty brush R102. And I'll just apply this. Oh, and I forgot to apply my concealer in the edges because I like to cover up the blue parts, and here I do have some discoloration and my eyes currently just watering like crazy for some reason. But I mean, it's fine. It's just that I like to have a more clean palette to blend on. Oh, I really should have removed all those sparkles because I can see them all over my eye. This is that beautiful purple shade. I really like it. And there you also just see how nice that blends. It's just such a beautiful shade. Now I'm just taking the shade that is more skin toned and I'll just apply that under the brow. And at least this one will cover up a little bit of that discoloration that I have right here. And I mean, I can go in with some concealer afterwards if I want to. I just like to do it first, normally. I'm now going to take the light purple and I'm using my 019 brush from Glam Shop, and I'll mostly focus this on the inner parts, I think. But I'll just see how much I like it, and maybe I'll add it a bit further out so you can just see how much cooler it becomes when you blend this one into that purple. And I think I'll use both the shade Nutmeg and Basil for the eye, so I can like use Basil on the more middle part to just make it pop a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's enough actually, so I still have the more slightly warmer berry shade here. And I think it just blends out so beautifully just by itself, but obviously you could reach for the other shades from the Barely Basic palette if you wanted some more transition shades, but I'm happy with this. For the shimmers, I will just add this one, I think all over the lid, and then I'll tap a little bit of this on the middle. And I'll just use my fingers to apply it. And I typically don't necessarily use a glitter glue with my Glaminatrix shadows. I just find that they look very opaque and sparkly and stay very long on the lid without it, so at least when I'm just going about my regular day I don't bother to do anything about it. But that is the shade Nutmeg. Now for the shade Basil, I'm taking a little bit less on my finger, and this is like an iridescent, nearly blue shade. And I just want a few of those sparkles, so I'll apply it at least on the middle, and I think just a little bit towards the inner corner too. It's just giving it a little bit of a cool touch with those blue sparkles, and I'm betting that it's gonna shift to purple actually, because it's a purple to blue shifting shade. You can like see the color that I get on my finger here. It's very beautiful. Now for the lower lash line, I think I'll just use a little bit of the purple shade and blend it out with the skin colored tone, and I'll probably use the lightest iridescent shade here. It's For You page from the Barely Basic palette. So I'll use that for the inner corner and I'll show you the close-up. Now here we have the close-up of the final look with my custom Glaminatrix palette, and I think it's very beautiful. It's a little bit more on the neutral glam side than what I usually like to do, and I do almost regret not playing with the light purple and the green, but I do really like this, so maybe I will do the purple and the green tomorrow off camera. We will just see. But I'm not planning to film any kind of outro because I have to go to work. But that was this video with my custom palette. I do hope that you enjoyed it. And I think it's so neat that Glaminatrix has palettes that are magnetic so that you can play with making custom palettes for yourself. So although I would have preferred them to be 26mm pans, I think that you can make so many cute palettes with just the small pans that are in the palettes with the small pans, if that makes any sense. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Bye!